So in this video, I want to talk about Amazon FBA and 5 things that I wish I knew before I started. So if you are looking at getting started on Amazon FBA, these 5 things should give you more clarity and help you make the right decision when it comes to starting one of these businesses. My first point on this is that Amazon is a real business. It's not a hobby, but most people come into this treating it like a hobby. So what does treating a business like a hobby look like? If you treat it like a hobby, it means you're kind of half-arsing it and it's just something you do for fun on the side. That's what a hobby usually is. Something you do for fun. It's not really a profit generating thing, although a hobby can be, but most people don't treat it that way. So when you come into an Amazon business with that same mentality, the drive and the focus, everything isn't there. If you half-arse your, how you feel about starting one of these businesses, that's what your results will be. They can only ever be half-arsed. Whereas if you treat this as a real business, you will get real business results. So what do I mean by that? The first thing that people do when they come in, they watch all these videos on YouTube, and I hope my video is as transparent, or if not more transparent than other people's videos on here. People believe that they can start an Amazon FBA business for like $1,000 or £1,000 or like as little money as possible. That's what they try and do. Like, how can I start this business with literally no money? This is the wrong mentality, and it's not going to get you very far. If, for instance, you were starting a real brick and mortar business, say for example, you wanted to start a coffee shop. You wanted to open a coffee shop in your local town, and let's just think about all the things you would have to have in place for that business to work. You would have to have a property, whether you bought the property or you're renting it or leasing it. Then you've got all the equipment that goes inside it, your coffee machine, all the furniture, the till, like literally everything. Then you've got staff, then you've got electricity bills, all the bills that come along with the building, utilities, council tax. All this stuff is taken into account, and people take this as a real business. They take things very seriously because it's a real brick and mortar business. It's a physical, tangible thing. Whereas sometimes I feel with an Amazon FBA business or an online business, people just see it as this digital thing that isn't really a real business. So then they treat it as a hobby and not a real business, which is the complete wrong mindset. You can build an Amazon FBA business from scratch the right way, and it can be phenomenally profitable, and it can make way more money than a coffee shop could ever do because of the leverage that you have on Amazon's platform and the access to customers and the global audience if you want to scale. But most people don't treat it like that. They just treat it like this little hobby, and they try and do it for as little money as possible. I'll be real with you and honest. It's not gonna it's gonna take more than £1,000 to start an Amazon FBA business if you want to do it properly. Because gone are the days of being able to just slap a product on Amazon and it'll sell. Now that's how I first started out. I started a brand on Amazon back in 2017. Sold products that range from prices around £20 up to about £50 or £60, and then I actually had a weight bench, a gym bench, flat weight bench that sold for about £130, which is probably one of the most expensive high ticket items that I sold on Amazon. But when I first started, I had the same mentality. I was like, right, how little can I spend to get this business up and running and making me money? Because I wanted to quit my job and just work online. In my head, for every product I launched, I had this number, and the number was £3,000. That's how much a product would cost me to research, to develop, and then bring that first batch of stock in and start selling. That was my magic number. But people still are trying to do this and even spend even less than that to get started. What I'll tell you is, you can try and start a business for £1,000. Go ahead and be my guest. But I can almost guarantee that with that money, it won't get you very far. It won't fuel the business. It won't give the business what it needs, the fuel to grow. If you do that, you'll be stuck selling products that are like really low ticket with next to no profit margin. And I've moved away from those types of products now. So a low ticket product, say £5-10, is not worth selling on Amazon anymore, I don't believe. Your profit margins are cut so thin after Amazon's taken their cut from the referral fee, the shipping, the fulfillment fee, and then you're left with very little profit for yourself as a business. And also, if you wanted to put any money into advertising, you don't have that. So then you can't push even more traffic to your product. So you really are capping your own growth. So if you were in that position, I would personally hold off a bit longer and gather the funds that you need to make this a real business and not just a hobby. Now I would be looking anywhere between £3,000 and £5,000 to invest into a product launch, a proper product launch on Amazon to give it the fuel and growth it needs for long-term success. Second point, Amazon still has the majority control. So as great as Amazon is, and it gives you all access to all these customers and global marketplaces, which is the best thing ever, Amazon still owns the customer. You don't own the customer. There's certain things you cannot do on Amazon. There's certain things you can't gather email addresses. You can't collect customer email addresses. You're very limited in future communication with somebody after they've made a purchase. So there's a fly in my room. As great as Amazon is, you don't have the control in that respect to the customer. Whereas if you had your own Shopify store, your own email list, that's your asset. You own that. And you can do whatever the hell you want with it in terms of communication. On Amazon, you can't do that. And if you try and do that, you'll breach their rules. And if you breach their rules, there's chances that they'll kick you off the platform. And that's something you don't want. You don't want to get blacklisted by Amazon because they're very clever. So if you try and start another account up in another name and it's linked to a bank account that has traces of you from it, like they can figure all this stuff out quite easily. You don't want to run the risk of being kicked off the platform forever because that's just not a great place to be at all. Third point on this is that it can be frustrating at times. So if you start an Amazon business and something happens that is outside of your control, Amazon just does weird things sometimes. And you'll end up having to fight fires on Amazon. You have to make sure your account health is always good. You're always in the Seller Central account trying to make sure everything is working fine. It's never really a fine, run-oiled machine that you can just leave and it generates you passive income. It just doesn't happen. And then when something does happen and you want to reach out to the support on Amazon, it's generally not the best. Like you can't just speak to a human being over the phone and say, hey, can you just go into my account and just fix this one thing real quickly? Whereas you can do that if you have your own website and your own assets. Now, this video isn't, I'm not trying to steer you away from starting an Amazon FBA business because I still sell on Amazon right now with my business partner, Peter. We still sell dozens of products on Amazon, but we also sell them off Amazon as well. So we don't just focus all our time and building brands on Amazon. I think that's quite a bad strategy. But we have traffic and marketing and we make sales on off Amazon as well. So Amazon can be frustrating if you put all your eggs in one basket on their platform. Next point is it's not going to happen overnight. If you're watching this and you want to get started with Amazon FBA and you are thinking it's going to take 30 days to make your first sale, in 30 days you're going to be able to quit your job if you're in a job you don't like right now, give this the fuel, the energy and the time it needs to grow. It's a real business. Treat it like one. It's going to take 3 to 6 months realistically for you to start from complete scratch, get your Amazon FBA account set up, find a product, get that product on Amazon and get it selling and get it to the point where it's generating traction and is actually embedded in Amazon's product catalog and is at the top of the search results for products. That's when things start to get really interesting. But it doesn't happen overnight. Sure, there are some instances where things do happen pretty quickly, but don't bank on that as happening every single time because you'll leave yourself upset and frustrated. I'm being transparent with you and just telling you things from my experience. It generally takes a couple of months for a product to come in from overseas if you use shipping versus air freight, which is obviously a little bit more expensive. Then you've got the whole time that the product takes to get into Amazon. Then you have the time it takes to get embedded in Amazon's system and start generating sales. It's not an overnight thing. And neither is starting a real business, which you have to keep in mind and always think about that. Now, the final point on this is the real opportunity. Where is the real opportunity on Amazon? Or like maybe it's the thought process that I have now. If you are looking at starting on Amazon, an Amazon FBA business, don't just start an Amazon FBA business. That's the point of this video. Don't put all your eggs in one basket because Amazon, one, they control the majority of everything. So that means you don't have access to customers' email addresses. You don't have the majority of control. Amazon can shut down your listings whenever they want. That very rarely happens. Like you have to do something stupid for that to happen, but it can happen with a glitch or something like that, and then you are left trying to firefight and trying to get the problem fixed, which is fairly straightforward to do, but don't put all your eggs in one basket is what I'm saying. If you're looking to build a brand, a physical products brand in 2025 and beyond, focus your attention on multiple marketplaces and have a presence on a place like Shopify or your own website so you can build your own social media, your own email list, your own assets that you own. That's the most important point. Have Amazon FBA as a vehicle, as a marketplace, but don't let it be your sole focus. Don't build an Amazon FBA brand. That's not what I would recommend. I would recommend building a brand from scratch that it will be a sellable asset in the future to you, but spread your attention across different marketplaces. Have a presence on your own website, build an email list, sell on Amazon. That's as simple as it needs to be. Any questions, drop them below. I will leave a link below to an explainer video where me and Peter, my business partner, talk about how we're working with different brands and how we might be able to help yourself as well. YouTube is also going to recommend some videos up here, which I suggest you check out watching next.